everyone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Sturman, and along with my wife, Ruth, we are the owners of Best Cruises and Tours. And for those of you that don't know us that well, Best Cruises and Tours is a family-owned travel agency. We've been in business over 30 years. We have sent over 120,000 of your friends and neighbors on vacations all over the world. And very quietly, we are one of the largest volume independent travel agencies in the state of New Jersey. We are members, Better Business Bureau. We're rated A+. We enjoy top producer status with most of the major cruise lines and travel suppliers. But our most important endorsements come from our thousands of satisfied clients. Our number one source of new business is repeat clients and their referrals. And we are successful because of our dedicated commitment to service. So I don't have to tell you how this past pandemic has affected travel. I know all of us are looking forward to traveling again. Travel's an entitlement that we have earned. We worked all our lives to be able to travel, see new things, enjoy new experiences. So the good news is that after 2+ years of none or very limited travel, people are traveling again. We are extremely busy, extremely busy. Last May, Ruth and I took a group to Spain and Portugal with hotel stays, sightseeing, and a wonderful river cruise on the Douro River in Portugal. And of course, we did it with Viking, our number one river cruise supplier, and actually one of the most important ocean cruise suppliers as well. And in February, we had a wonderful group going in search of the Northern Lights up the coast of Norway. And it was a spectacular trip. And of course, we did it with Viking. Now, Viking is a fairly young company, was founded in '97 with the vision that travel could be more destination focused and culturally immersive. And it has grown exponentially. They currently, I think, have over 70 river vessels, 6 ocean vessels, 2 expedition ships, and they have evolved to be our number one river cruise partner because they continue to deliver outstanding all-around vacations. And they've been rated number one by travelers in both Condé Nast and Leisure magazine, Travel and Leisure. So interestingly enough, river cruising has become extremely popular. There are river cruises all through Europe, but one of my favorites has always been the Rhine. Ruth and I have done this itinerary multiple times, but anyway, I am getting ahead of myself. I'm thrilled to introduce one of my hostesses for this event, our Viking Cruise Regional Sales Manager, Mrs. Shannon Tiger. So she's going to take it from here. Shannon?
Oh, thanks, Jeff. And thank you all so much for listening in to learn more about this fabulous trip on the Rhine. I'm always so happy to do these webinars with you all at Best Cruises. I have to tell you, as I always say, you are certainly one of our best partners in crime here with Viking, and we really appreciate all of your hard work with Viking. And I honestly think that you and all the advisors at Best Cruises know Viking better than I do sometimes. You're always calling me out on something, and it's because of your knowledge of our brand and our travel experience. So Jeff, thanks for being such a fantastic partner. Before I start my presentation, I wanted and asked for the privilege to introduce Randi Dixon, who is here patiently listening to Jeff and I. And Randi, actually, I had the privilege to travel with her on Viking last year in August of 2022 on the Danube River. And interesting enough, because I believe you enjoyed river cruising so much, Randi has chosen to host a group just like Ruth and Jeff do all the time with us on the Danube this year in 2023. So you'll be departing, Randi, I believe, in October of this year. And I believe that cruise is already sold out and has been sold out. So in addition to that, we've decided to add the Rhine because, as Jeff just said, it's one of my favorite rivers as well. I've traveled on it many, many times. And we wanted to kind of get ahead of it because Viking is selling out so quickly these days. So we thought, before even Randi goes on this trip that she's hosting in October, we should bring to you all the Rhine as well, because we want to make sure that next year we have something already lined up with Randi to travel with you on. So today's presentation will be solely about the Rhine. So I'm going to pass this over to Randi really quick so she can do a proper introduction of herself for those of you that may not have traveled with her. And then I'll be back in a moment to go through the entire itinerary on the Rhine. So Randi, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Shannon. So I am super, super excited about this itinerary. As Shannon said, I had the pleasure of traveling with her on the Danube last year, and I decided this was so amazing. Viking was so amazing. If I thought about ice cream, folks, it appeared in front of me. That's how wonderful the service was. I thought to myself, let's do a Danube group. And we did, and we are sold out, and I am going in October, and hopefully some of you folks that are listening to this are on my Danube trip and are interested in doing the Rhine. And we decided that we were going to get this out to you guys as soon as possible because we noticed that inventory was going fast for 24 and 25. So we were able to secure some space on this particular sailing. Great time to go in September, one of my favorite times to travel in Europe. Kids are back in school. Things are a little calmer travel-wise. The weather's fabulous. So I am super, super excited to be hosting this trip with Rob. I am hoping to see some familiar faces, and I would love to have some new folks join us for this fabulous trip. I am going to pass this back to Shannon because she's going to take you guys through a virtual cruise journey on the magnificent Rhine. And then we can talk about some details at the end of this webinar. So Shannon, take us away, please.
I will. And also, I just have to plug you as well because I know you host plenty of groups at Best Cruises, and you are just like Ruth and Jeff. And so I am honored to have both of you hosting these groups on our product. Again, we're really pleased to be a partner of yours and such a strong partner for that respect as well. So I am now launching the presentation. I hope you all can see the presentation here. And I am really excited to take you on the fabulous Rhine. So just give me 1 second so I can make sure I have all my screens up and running. And here we go. All right, perfect. Righty. Okay, great, excellent. So the trip that we're actually speaking of today is with Randi and Rob, and it's on the Rhine River as we spoke about. The departure date is September 3rd through the 13th. Now, traditionally, this would be a 7-night, 8-day river cruise, but what Randi has done here, which I think is terrific, is built in a 2-night pre in Amsterdam. So you'll be flying over from the United States on September 3rd, arriving in Amsterdam on September 4th, and you will be able to tour the city of Amsterdam for 2 nights before you board your river cruise. I love the way you set this up because honestly, this will give everyone a little bit of time to get acclimated to the time zone, and everyone will have the opportunity to see the fabulous Amsterdam. I always feel like this is a city that you need extra time in. And so I am so pleased that you have built this 2-night pre-extension on land at a hotel in Amsterdam, and then you'll be joining us for the 7-night river cruise. So before we start, I always like to just talk a little bit about the world of Viking. As Jeff mentioned, we're not just a river cruise line. We've been in business for 25 years. Most do recognize us as a river cruise line because that is where we started. That being said, we have been very busy building ships. We have a lot of them, over 100, believe it or not. And we also are sailing all of the oceans on our ocean vessels. We're not going to talk about the ocean vessels today, but I do want to point out to all of you that this is a 930 passenger ocean ship. So this is what we would consider a small ship. And the travel experience on board Viking is always centered around the destination. So being able to travel all of these bodies of waters on Viking, perhaps doing it by ocean on a smaller ship, that affords you the ability to actually get right into the heart of these ports and not having to go to a cruise terminal. So definitely reach out to everyone at Best Cruises. They are experts on ocean just as they are as river. As Jeff just mentioned, Ruth and him had hosted a trip on our ocean vessels in search of the Northern Lights. And that was really a fantastic journey. So I'm sure there'll be more coming as well your way with regards to more hosted ocean trips. In addition to ocean, you'll see here on the lower left-hand corner of the presentation slide, our Viking Mississippi. I know that Jeff and his team are already planning and have already launched a Mississippi River Cruise experience, which is a hosted trip that they'll be doing. So you can always inquire about that if you were looking to also do something here in the States on the Mississippi River. And then in the lower right-hand corner is Viking Expeditions. And that actually will have journeys taking you to Antarctica, which we launched in January of 2022, as well as to the Great Lakes. So all of these opportunities that you're seeing here to travel on Viking, whether that's river or ocean on the Mississippi River, in the last continent in Antarctica, or on the Great Lakes, these are all available to you. And they all have one thing in common, folks, which is small ship cruising. So we're really excited to bring you the world of Viking. I also wanted to mention, in addition to our Condé Nast Traveler and Travel and Leisure Awards for Best River and Ocean Cruise Line in 2022, we just also won a really exciting award, which is award by Food and Wine, which is #1 in Food and Wine's Global Tastemaker Awards. And so I always like to talk about this because sometimes on a cruise ship, you're not sure if you're tasting the flavors of the region and you're experiencing the foods of the region. And I will tell you that one of the things that Viking does very well is make sure that you're going to have all the delicious flavors of the region while you're sailing on board. So we have special signature dishes that reflect the region, and I'll share with you a little bit more on that. But first and foremost, before we actually go on the river together, I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about Viking's way of travel. That's very important to you as a traveler and selecting who you're going to be seeing, the fabulous world that we live in, and how you're going to be seeing it. And I wanted to let you know that one of the things that's very important to Viking is to make sure that we are a very destination focused cruise line. So when you're cruising on Viking, you'll see that we're not everything to everyone. We really do cater to the traveler who is very interested in seeing the world. They want an immersive experience when they're on shore. They want to see everything about that, the history of that destination. They want to taste the food of that region. They want to learn about the cultural aspects of that region. And that is the primary focus on Viking when you're traveling with us, is always to make sure that the destination is the most important piece of your trip. So even when you're on board Viking, you'll be learning so much about that destination you're visiting as well. So there's a lot of lectures, port talks, and things that focus on the destination. The other thing is we love to offer a very inclusive product, meaning we don't want you to feel like you're being nickeled and dimed throughout your journey. So I'm going to share with you all the inclusions in the product. And the other thing I always like to mention, which I think is important for a traveler to know, is that Viking owns and operates all of their ships. And so when you're on board Viking, the crew is a crew that is our crew, a crew that is Swiss trained. And I think one of the things that certainly will come to light for you when you travel on us is how amazing our crew is and that service that we provide when you're on our vessels. We are often called the thinking person's cruise because, again, everything we are doing on board and how we're traveling truly is centered around the cultural insight of that destination. So we know that our travelers are looking to understand and explore these destinations, and they want to kind of do as the locals do. And so that is the travel experience with Viking, again, very destination focused. And need I not mention also, I'd be very remiss to not mention that you, when you're on board Viking, will not see children because you have to be over the age of 18 to travel on any product, on any travel experience, on any ship with Viking. So I always think that's pretty neat to know that on board us, you won't have water slides, you won't have kids clubs, you won't have lines, because again, this is very small ship cruising. And when we cruise, it's always in a country club kind of environment in terms of dress. So it's country club casual, meaning, you know, vacation casual. No, you cannot wear flip-flops in the dining room in the evening, but don't worry, you don't also have to wear any formal attire. So when we are traveling with Viking, we have something called a signature dish every evening, and this is on the menu. So you'll be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you choose to do so on board the vessel. But every night we do have a signature dish, which is a taste of the region. So you can always get your steaks and your pastas and your salmon and your fish and all that. But we do have that signature dish for you. So you can taste those flavors. And we locally source all of our ingredients as well as our wine on board. So you'll oftentimes be tasting the wines of the region as well. In terms of inclusive value, as we're discussing wine and beer are included at lunch and dinner. So if you just choose to have a glass of wine at lunch and dinner or a beer, and that's really all that you're going to need, terrific. That's included in the fare. But if you do like your bourbons and your whiskeys and you want a martini before dinner and all that, for a very nominal fee for the entire week, you can purchase what's called the Silver Spirits package. This is something you add on to your cruise fare before you go, and that will afford you the luxury of having spirits around the clock at any time of the day, as well as an extended wine list at lunch and dinner. So definitely inquire with the team at Best Cruises about the Silver Spirits package. From what I understand, we have a fabulous collection of bourbons and whiskeys and all that stuff. But in addition to that, I wanted to share with you everything that is included. So I think one of the most important things that we include in your cruise fare is the shore excursion. This is one shore excursion, folks, for every port of call. This isn't a credit to a shore excursion. This is the complete shore excursion. So every port of call includes one shore excursion in your cruise fare. And that shore excursion is a shore excursion with a local tour guide that is a Viking employee. And every night in your stateroom, you will have something called a quiet box. Quiet box is a little earpiece and a receiver. You charge it every night in your stateroom. And then when you go out on shore and tour with us, you actually just put the lanyard around your neck, put the little earpiece in your ear, and that will give you the ability to listen to the tour guide. This is a 2.5-hour tour, whether it's a city tour or to an abbey, to something special. Well, you'll be listening to the tour guide who's local to the region and sharing everything they know about the destination that they grew up in. So you'll see all the iconic spots. You'll learn when that church is built. You'll learn history that took place there, if a city was damaged in any of the wars. All of that stuff will happen on this included shore excursion. And I think there is great value to that. We call that the Viking way. Again, this experience is really centered around the destination, and all of that comes to light through this included shore excursion. In addition to the included shore excursion, we have optional tours that you can take with us as well. And you'll be hearing me talk about those while we travel on the river together virtually. Those optional tours are something that you purchase in addition to the included tour. And that would be something, say, you do in the afternoon if we're in port all day. And an idea of that would be like maybe going out to a palace or going to and doing a wine experience. So those are optional tours that you can purchase as well. Now, Wi-Fi is included, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is included. All the port charges and government taxes are included. Bottled water in your stateroom, as well as when you go out on shore, is included. Specialty coffees and teas around the clock are included. So as you can see, there is so much already built into your cruise fare. And I really think that this makes the Viking experience incredibly special. So here we have it. We are now going to talk about this fabulous trip. Now, the cruise portion of this trip is called the Rhine Getaway. The Rhine Getaway is just as popular as any of our Danube cruises as well. And I like to say this is a great river, whether it's a first time or a second time experiencing these rivers in Europe. The actual cruise itself is 7 nights, but as I had mentioned earlier, Randi and the team built in the 2 extra nights on land in a hotel in Amsterdam before you actually join the ship. So your entire journey here is going to be for a total of 9 nights, 10 days. And you'll have 6 guided tours that we'll have included on the river portion, as well as you'll be traveling through 4 different countries. So let me show you a little bit about the Rhine and what it looks like. So for those of you that are joining us that have never been on a river cruise, this is a terrific picture to showcase what these rivers look like. You can see land on both sides. The rivers are very calm. There's barely any motion on these beautiful floating boutique hotels that are just 190 passengers taking you on these beautiful rivers. And I have to tell you, for the Rhine, it's often referred to as the romantic Rhine, the Rhine that's filled with rivers, with castles and cathedrals. So over 40 different castles will be showing their beauty up on the hilltops like you're seeing here in this picture. It is a fabulous way to go through the middle of Europe. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous castles, and then beautiful little authentic villages that you'll be passing through and visiting on this journey. And so I'm really excited to show to you what this journey looks like. You will be here docked in the heart of these destinations. So imagine this, every day you're in a new port and there's your Viking Longship. The Longship, again, just 190 passengers docked right here in the heart of every destination. You'll literally be walking off the vessel and into port, which also lends a little bit of flexibility if you wanted to, after you've done your included tour and had lunch on board, to go back into port on your own. So you can channel your inner wanderlust. But every day being in a new port on these rivers gives you so much history and so much culture. And it is a journey that is certainly going to be exciting and really giving you an experience of Europe, from these big iconic destinations like Amsterdam, and then traveling along the river into the smaller villages. Again, castles and cathedrals around every twist and turn, a new port for you to visit every day. And it really is just, there's so much excitement around this journey. So we're going to be starting in Amsterdam. And then from Amsterdam, we're going to be going, which is in the Netherlands. And then we're going to be going from Amsterdam to Kinderdijk in the Netherlands. And I'm going to showcase these destinations to you in a moment. We're going from Kinderdijk to Cologne, Cologne to Koblenz, which then at the same day we'll be visiting a really adorable port called Rudesheim. And then from Rudesheim to Speyer, Speyer to Strasbourg, and Strasbourg to Breisach. But do you see, we're going through the Netherlands to Germany, to France, back to Germany, and then to Switzerland. And guess what? The beauty of this on a river cruise is you have the opportunity to see all of these ports, all of these countries, and only have to really pack and unpack once. Well, technically twice in this case, since you're going to be spending some extra time in Amsterdam, which I think is just absolutely fabulous. So this is what it looks like on a map. You'll see Amsterdam is your starting point, Basel, Switzerland is your ending point on this journey, and then all of the rivers that you're going to be traveling through. Now, notice on the Rhine and this specific river, these were the roadways of the Middle Ages. So this is where all the trade routes were. This is how people were traveling throughout this region. And so that's why you'll see these beautiful castles and cathedrals along your journey, and these ports of call, because that truly is how they were trading and living back in the Middle Ages. We're going to start with Amsterdam. Again, you'll have some extra time here in Amsterdam. We're going to actually take you, because you'll be doing your air with Viking. So everybody will be traveling over from the States to the airport, landing in the airport in the early afternoon, likely in Amsterdam, maybe in the late morning on September 4th. And then we're going to transfer you to your hotel. And here's where you'll have your 2 nights to explore the city of Amsterdam. My note to you is I want you to be very, very aware of bicycles as you're seeing in this picture, because it is said that there are more bicycles than there are people in the city of Amsterdam. So always be careful of where you're turning when you're crossing a street. If you're stopping because you want to take a picture, just be very mindful of all the bicycles that are surrounding you. But the city of Amsterdam is just filled with charming canals, elegant gabled houses, and amazing museums. There's more museums here in Amsterdam than there is in a lot of places in Europe. There's just beautiful canals that you'll be traveling on, and likely you'll be doing this through glass top boats. So you can do what would act kind of as like a hop on, hop off bus tour. You would do that through the famous iconic glass top boats. And what's really neat about the canals is as you're cruising down the canals, you'll see all the fabulous houseboats and the city line streets of these gabled houses. This was the golden age, and there is a lot of history here. And during that time of the golden age, this is where there was a lot of wealth here in Amsterdam from all the trading that they were doing. But over 165 different canals that wind their way through the city, and all very interesting districts that you can travel to and see. And I wanted to point also out a wonderful dish, which would be fabulous in September. It's a great time to go to Europe in September. The weather is just like it would be on the East Coast, the Northeast, seasonal in Europe. So you'll be experiencing some great weather. Layer up because you may have a little bit of a colder day, but likely at this time it'll still be incredibly warm. So you'll have the opportunity to see a lot of things here. The hearty bowl of Hutspot. Hutspot is a delicious kind of like a vegetable stew with braised brie. And there's great street food here in Amsterdam. So definitely try that. You'll absolutely love it, as well as a stroopwafel. A stroopwafel is something that often you'll find in Amsterdam, and it's a nice thin waffle that you put over a cup of coffee or tea, which is just quite delicious in the morning. The Keukenhof Gardens are a fabulous spot for you to visit during tulip season, which wouldn't be at this time of year. They do plant over 7 million bulbs here. So Keukenhof Gardens, definitely take time to tour that. But do spend time in the museum district where there's the Rijksmuseum and the Van Gogh Museum. They're both there next to each other, so you can spend a lot of time. You will not believe the beautiful Rembrandt paintings they have in the Rijksmuseum, over 22. Impressionism is a very popular focus here. So definitely make sure that you enjoy a lot of these Dutch artists and do go to both of these museums. The Rijksmuseum is not just art. There's actually a propeller airplane in addition in the museum, and so many other things to see. So you're going to want some time. In addition, you're going to want to make sure you do in advance through Best Cruises or on your own your reservations for the Anne Frank House. This is something that is very popular to see. I've done it personally myself. I highly recommend that you make the reservations for the Anne Frank House in advance so you can see this a fabulous house where Anne Frank and her family were during World War II. You actually can see climb up the steps and see where they were hiding, and it's just unbelievably moving, and so highly recommend that. Now, after your time in Amsterdam, riding those glass top canal boats and visiting all those districts, we will be then making our way to Kinderdijk. Kinderdijk is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and this is your second port of call, if you will. You will be touring this beautiful field of windmills. You can do it with us by foot. You could also, if you want, tour it by bicycle as an optional tour. This is where we have 18th century windmills. And the windmills are fascinating because they actually, during their height of their performance, they would be managed and maintained by a windmill master. So you'll have the opportunity to go up into one of these windmills and actually see where the windmill master and his family would live. And you'll learn so much about them. And it's really quite lovely. It's just a beautiful scene. If you want, you can do an optional tour that will take you out to a Dutch cheese farm. You'll learn how to make some Dutch cheeses. And then you'll have an opportunity as well to go to the windmill. So that's another optional tour that you can choose to purchase, and that will actually give you an experience out on a Dutch cheese farm. And it's really quite fun. So I highly recommend that optional tour as well, where you can learn how to make some cheeses. Yes, you can purchase some cheeses. You can bring some cheeses back on board. Trust me, you won't be flying home with them because they're so delicious. We also serve some of these Dutch cheeses like Gouda cheese on board. And we also have Jenever, which is a Dutch delicious liqueur. So we do bring all these flavors, as I had mentioned earlier, on board. Next up on our next port of call, we will be going to one of my favorite cities in Germany, Cologne. Why is this one of my favorite cities? Well, for very many reasons. One, as the other ports, we dock right here in the heart of Cologne, and we spend an entire day here. This affords you the ability to do an amazing included panoramic city tour with us in the morning, and you'll be walking your way through this port, learning all about the history of this port. There's a delicious chocolate factory that's right by where we dock. It's an amazing city to walk, but there in the right-hand corner of the photo that I'm showing here is the Dom. The Dom is an impressive Gothic cathedral. It is one of the largest Gothic cathedrals in Europe, and certainly the largest in Germany. It took over 700 years to build. You will have the opportunity to go inside of the Dom. If you want, you can even do a privileged access tour, which is a tour that you can purchase and go all the way up into the spires of the cathedral and have the most beautiful view of Cologne. But to actually go into the spires of this cathedral is like nothing else. It is just filled with such glamour, and it is so impressive. We also I just want to actually show you some of the Gothic architecture of the Dom here. You can see how impressive it is. It is by far probably one of the most impressive cathedrals that I've personally walked into. And so this is certainly going to be a highlight for you on this tour. In addition to cathedrals and amazing history here in Cologne, they also brew Kolsch beer. If you're a beer drinker, this is something you're going to want to definitely experience, because there's many different variations of Kolsch beer here in Cologne. But generally, it's a light, crisp beer. And there's lots of beer gardens and brew houses here in Cologne. So one of the things that we offer in the evening here, since we are here the entire day, is a brew house tour. This is an optional tour where you can actually experience Cologne's beer culture, which is, of course, famous. They're famous for, as well as Germany as a whole. And it's so much fun. I've done this tour before, and you go to 3 different brew houses. You have a delicious dinner. It's really amazing. So you'll have a dinner in Cologne if you choose to do this optional tour. But you could also do this on your own, because by having the proximity to the port, you have the ability to walk on and off the ship into port, have lunch on board, go back into Cologne, eat lunch in Cologne, eat dinner in Cologne, and you will just absolutely love this city. We also have a really good ratio right now for the value of the dollar against the value of the euro. So a great time to go to Europe and to be able to explore and shop while you're in Europe. So this is a picture of folks drinking some Kolsch beer, and hopefully you will be doing that in 2024 with Randi. Next up, we're going to Koblenz, which is a traditional German country town, and it's at the confluence of the Rhine and the Moselle rivers. So this is going to be really great for you to experience both of those rivers. This city was founded over 2,000 years ago. We're going to do an included walking tour here, and you'll love it. Koblenz is a smaller version for sure of Cologne, Cologne being the 4th largest city in Germany. But here, this is neat because your guide's going to be able to point out some ancient Rome and Middle Ages architecture. There's also a big Napoleonic architecture here, gorgeous narrow streets, those cobblestone streets. And you'll have the opportunity, of course, see the church, see the city hall, see some of the city's oldest buildings dating back to the 9th century. So how amazing is that to be able to see some architecture dating back to the 9th century that was not destroyed in the World War II. We also have the opportunity to go to Ehrenbreitstein Fortress. This is where you'll take a cable car up to the fortress. This is a fabulous tour. It's very informative, and it's also fun because the tour guide here going up to the fortress is just in a period costume. And so it's quite fun to actually take a little step back in time and go head up to the fortress, which is, of course, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In addition, in Cologne, in Koblenz, if you want to, you could choose to go to the Marksburg Castle as an optional tour experience. This is a medieval castle, which is amazing because you'll actually be able to go into the castle. To go into a medieval castle and tour its different apartments and see its basement and some of the findings there, which I don't want to spoil for you, is really interesting because lots of times for a castle that's founded many years ago, it's a medieval castle, you don't have the opportunity to go into them because they're not deemed safe. But this is in wonderful condition, and you'll have the opportunity to walk through this medieval castle and learn all about the castle and what took place there and how they fought there, the spiral staircases, and it's really amazing. It is quite an incline to get up to the castle, so I would encourage you to maybe forgo Marksburg Castle if you have any mobility issues. Now we're going to start experiencing the romantic Rhine. And again, castles and cathedrals all throughout this river as you're traveling on it from Amsterdam all the way down to Switzerland. And again, this is another fabulous picture to showcase to you how these tall the cliffs are and the banks of the river are. And also on this river, there are lots of tales that you'll be learning about when you're touring and doing your scenic river cruising. You'll be passing through vineyard blanketed hills. They produce the Riesling grape here. So on this journey, you'll also have the opportunity to meet with some vintners if you choose to. But you'll see at these vineyards, they actually handpick the grapes. And it's just really neat to see some of these fantastic sites along the river. So this is going to be some experiences that you'll have. Now, we're going to be next headed to Rudesheim. Here, you're going to want to try the Rudesheimer coffee, but this is a really neat region. This, to me, is authentic small village Germany. You can see here the pedestrian-only cobblestone street, all the different cafes, the shopping that you can do along this street. And so you will just be walking along these beautiful streets that's known as the famed Drosselgasse. And again, all narrow cobblestone streets, taverns, local vintages. You can stop in any of the cafes and enjoy a coffee or enjoy some wine, enjoy the restaurants of this beautiful city. So highly encourage you to do so. We also have here a dining experience as an optional tour where you can dine in Rudesheim, and it's a really fun experience. It's everybody's dressed up. It's true German culture. You'll prost to your dinner that evening. You'll listen to some fun polka music, and that's an experience as well. We have tastings and dinner experiences at the Eberbach Monastery. So if you're looking for a wine experience, you can do that as well on this journey. And we have a wine tasting dinner also at the Schloss Johannesburg estate. So 2 different estates that you can experience some wine tasting. Now we're making our way to Speyer. I have to say, Speyer is a port that we spend about a half day at. There's a UNESCO World Heritage Site there, which is the amazing Speyer Cathedral. So a different kind of feel from the Dom, but still that Gothic feeling. And it's an 11th century cathedral that is on the site of a former basilica. But in addition to this cathedral, you'll have the opportunity to walk through the beautiful town of Speyer. And one of the things that I find super fun about Speyer is the beautiful, charming shop-lined streets, and then the Old Town Gate and the impressive clock tower that we're seeing here in this picture. But also you'll have the opportunity on your walking tour that's included of Spire to visit one of the first Protestant or Lutheran home cathedral churches. So you'll actually be able to go into this Lutheran church, which is where Martin Luther came to this region. It was one of the first regions he came to, this area in Spire, and built a Lutheran church. So that's really quite neat as well. Now, alternatively, here in this region, you'll have the opportunity, if you want, to do an optional tour out to Heidelberg, which is home to one of Germany's oldest universities that was founded in 1386. And there's a beautiful sandstone castle. You can see it here in this picture. It's the ruins of the castle, but it's really a wonderful university experience. And if you like, you can have lunch with a university student as well while you're visiting this historic area, Heidelberg, of this region. And then we will be landing in Strasbourg. Strasbourg, for me, is one of my favorite ports of all of river cruising that I've done personally so far. It is a really neat region. You're now in France. So we've been in the Netherlands, we've done Germany, and now we're in France. And what's interesting about Strasbourg is it changed hands about 14 times between the French and the Germans. So what's neat is you have a really nice blend of culture here. So you can see the gorgeous half-timbered homes that we're looking at with the flower boxes. You'll see this a lot through your journey on the Rhine. But what's neat about this is the food. The food and the culture with that blend of that German and French culture is neat. There's also a ton of history here in this region. Audie Murphy, you can go out and see where he single-handedly fought the Nazis by himself. And you can also experience some World War II history tours in this region. But simply just doing a canal tour, because this city is filled with canals, just like Amsterdam, or a walking tour through the city. We have a food tour where you can taste the region and spend 8 hours learning about the history of the city and eating your way through the city. Or you can just do the included tour in the morning, which is a canal tour, and you'll learn all about the history of this city. The city is just a gorgeous city to walk along the cobble streets as well. In the afternoon, if you choose, you can go out to the Alsatian wine region, which is a very famous wine region, and you can go to a winery. It's a small group tour that will take you out to a winery. These wineries have been in the families for over 300 years. So you'll be meeting the family members of the wine estate. You'll be learning about the different vintages of it. And it's really a fun winery experience. So lots of different things to see and do from Strasbourg. So you'll have to learn more with Best Cruises and from them about the optional tours. But I can guarantee you're going to absolutely love Strasbourg. One of the highlights of Strasbourg when you're touring in the city is the cathedral. The Strasbourg Cathedral hosts an astronomical clock. I cannot get this clock out of my own head. It's absolutely amazing. It's one of the most beautiful first astronomical clocks. It still works. And your tour guide is going to teach you all about the clock and what happens during the different parts of the year, seasons, times, hours on the hour. It's really neat. You're going to absolutely love the Strasbourg Cathedral, and you will be seeing this on your included tour. So lots to consider while you're in Strasbourg. Now, our last port of call before we head to Switzerland will be Breisach, Germany. This is where you'll have the opportunity to go and get away into the Black Forest. So you'll be doing this by motor coach. We also even have an e-bike tour if you choose to do the e-bike tour, which is an optional tour, and you can e-bike your way through the Black Forest. But the motor coach tour will take you to this part of the Black Forest, and you'll learn about this little area which is completely sustaining itself. There's glass blowing there. You'll learn all about the cuckoo clocks, great shopping, and you'll also learn how to make Black Forest cake. So here in the Black Forest is likely where you'll be buying a cuckoo clock. So do know where you want to put your cuckoo clock, measure out your wall space, or if it's a desk cuckoo clock, and they will certainly ship anything home for you. But it's a great area to just be able to go through the Black Forest and see the density of the Black Forest and learn about the cuckoo clocks and the Black Forest cake. And trust me, the Black Forest cake is delicious. So you're not going to want to miss that demonstration. Alternatively, you can spend some time in the medieval village of Colmar. So along the Rhine, it's often known as its storybook villages. And so you'll have already passed through some what we consider storybook villages, but truly medieval village of Colmar is a highlight of this trip. If you'd like to take an optional tour out to the medieval village of Colmar, this is the epitome of a storybook village. And there is so much history to learn about here in the medieval village of Colmar, as well as a lot of World War II history. Again, a wonderful wine growing region here. You'll enjoy this tour immensely, that's for sure. And last but not least, we end here in Basel, Switzerland. You can choose to do a post extension. Best Cruises can tell you all about those post extensions. But I do want you to know here in Basel, Switzerland, there's over 40 different museums. So there's a lot of art and culture as well. You won't have a lot of time to spend here unless you choose to spend some additional time in Switzerland, which of course you can take upon some activities, hopefully in the Swiss Alps. But I will say that here in Basel, Switzerland, if you have the opportunity, you'll be able to go to the market. You'll be able to taste some of the delicious cheeses and produces in that market. But the city is known for water fountains that you can drink from that are sprinkled throughout the entire city. So let's have some fun looking for some of these ornate water fountains that are throughout the city. But these are just some pictures of some of the things that you would have the opportunity to see while you're in Switzerland. So I will tell you that one of the things that's great is Best Cruises will tell you all about those extensions that you can do post-cruise while you're here in Switzerland. I do want to take a quick moment and just showcase the 190 passenger Viking Longship. You can see there's many different stateroom opportunities, which I'll share with you in a moment. But this is to be like your floating boutique hotel. It is a lovely ship that's going to take you from port to port, docking you right in the heart of these destinations. The design on board is all Scandinavian design, light timbers, bringing the outdoors in. You can see floor to ceiling windows everywhere. You'll check in here at guest services. This is where you'll learn all about the things you need to learn about. If you want to inquire about things in the region, you can do this here at guest services. But the atrium is the heart of the vessel where you'll be boarding and embarking and disembarking. Restaurant is where you'll be having all your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the lounge is where all of the entertainment, the port talks take place, the language lessons, the trivia games, the light dancing that we do. The lounge here is where you can have your before and after dinner drinks, listen to our piano player, sing along with our piano player. But I do want to take note to something that's very special on the Viking Longships, which would be the Aquavit Terrace. This is alfresco dining and a little bit of indoor dining in what feels like a garden cafe. And you can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner here on the Aquavit Terrace as an alternative dining venue, and it's right off the menu. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of at least 1 or 2 meals here on the Aquavit Terrace. While you're traveling along the Rhine River, you'll be going through different locks. So a lot of folks will grab a coffee and just sit out here and enjoy going through the locks as well, or as well on the sun deck. So the sun deck is where you'll be doing all your scenic river cruising. We have a walking track you can see. So if you do want to get some exercise on board, by all means, you can walk along our walking track. But this is where you'll be enjoying during September some of the best weather in this region, a very popular time to go. And you'll be enjoying some of the most beautiful views and your scenic river cruising. We have no corkage fee on Viking. So by all means, go out, buy a €5 bottle of wine in any of these ports or on your wine tasting tours. Come back to our ship. You can decork that bottle of wine anywhere on board at no charge. Our crew will do that for you. So we encourage you to spend some time here up on the sun deck especially during this time of year where you'll be traveling. As far as accommodations are concerned, we have 2 Explorer suites. They do go fast, so if you're looking for luxury accommodations, 2-room suite, here you can see the wraparound verandas. You'll have a French balcony in your stateroom. We also have another 2-room suite, which is our AA veranda suites. This is 2 separate rooms, your sleeping area and your living space, and a larger bathroom. A very popular choice for most would be the veranda suite, where you'll be able to walk outside on your veranda, get some fresh air, great for scenic river cruising, as well as the French balcony. So both the veranda and the French balcony, as well as the larger suites, offer floor to ceiling windows in your stateroom. And of course, anyone at Best Cruises will be able to help you pick the best fit for you. The lowest and most economical stateroom, which I actually don't mind, is the standard. And you can see here, you still get a window. We call this the swan view. You're going to be halfway underwater here, but don't worry, it's a great stateroom for you. Lots of space here in the standard stateroom, and the bathrooms are the same size as the French balcony and the veranda. So if you want to, you can choose this stateroom. And by all means, you're not going to be in your stateroom very often. So I loved having the opportunity, and thank you, Randi and Jeff, for inviting me to talk to you all about the Rhine Getaway. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. You saw some beautiful photos, and you're really excited about this trip and traveling with Randi and Rob, which I personally love to do myself. And here is the contact information. And I know Randi wanted to say some closing comments, but thank you everyone for having me and listening in to this presentation. Randi, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate you sharing all of this information and your vast knowledge with us. I hope that everybody is now as excited as I am to travel on the Rhine River. As Shannon said, please note that our contact information is here. You have already received information on pricing, amenities, special offers, along with the link that you received to watch this presentation. However, please feel free to reach out to us. We can answer any questions. We can go over that pricing again, category cabins, post cruise hotel and tour information. We're happy to answer any questions for you, whether you are a first-time river cruiser, whether you are somebody that is first-time traveling with me. For all of you guys that know me, I've been doing these escorted trips for about 12 years. And I will tell you that with all the modes of transportation that I have used, river cruising is my absolute favorite way to take a tour. I love the idea of having this floating hotel that I can unpack my bag and I wake up in a new spectacular city every single day. And Viking has been a tremendous partner to us. We absolutely love traveling with you guys every step of the way. And I just wanted to let you guys know that once again, this is our contact information and we are here to answer any questions that you have. I am so looking forward to you guys traveling with me on the Rhine in 2024. And I wanted to extend a thank you to everybody for taking the time to watch this presentation. Everybody have a great day.
Take care, everyone, and we look forward to welcoming you on board Viking.
Are we good?